Have you ever been laughed at so hard that people expected you to fail before you even had a chance to try? Imagine standing in a massive factory while executives point at 6 ruined motors lying on the floor. They laugh, shake their heads, and tell everyone, "Good luck fixing trash." But what they didn't know was that the quiet single dad standing in front of them wasn't looking at broken machines. He was looking at 6 new opportunities. Sometimes the greatest success begins with the greatest insult. This is the story of a father who refused to let humiliation define him, a man whose kindness changed lives, and how 6 pieces of scrap became the foundation of a $500 million empire. Before we begin, if you love emotional stories that restore your faith in humanity, don't forget to subscribe to Echoes of Stories, like this video, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories every week. The huge warehouse echoed with laughter. Jacob Carter stood quietly with his worn work boots covered in grease. His faded work shirt showed years of hard labor. Ever since losing his wife to illness 3 years earlier, he had been raising his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, completely on his own. Life had never been easy. Every morning, Jacob dropped Lily off at school before heading to whatever repair job he could find. Some weeks he barely earned enough to pay rent. Still, he never complained. His late wife had always told him, "Kindness costs nothing, but it can change someone's entire future." Jacob never forgot those words. That morning, a famous manufacturing company had invited mechanics from across the country. Their CEO announced that 6 industrial motors had been damaged beyond repair. Engineers had already declared them worthless. Replacing them would cost millions. As a joke, the CEO smiled and looked at Jacob. "You seem confident," she said with a grin. "Take these 6 broken motors." The room exploded with laughter. One executive whispered loudly, "He's a single dad. He'll probably sell them for scrap." Another added, "Maybe he'll build a barbecue." Everyone laughed except Jacob. He simply smiled. "Thank you," he said. The room became strangely quiet. Nobody expected gratitude. The CEO raised an eyebrow. "You know they're completely useless?" Jacob nodded. "Maybe," he replied. "But everything deserves one honest chance." Those simple words stayed with one young intern named Emily. Unlike the others, she saw something different in Jacob. Not confidence. Character. Jacob borrowed an old trailer and hauled all 6 motors back to the small garage behind his rented house. Every evening after dinner, Lily sat nearby doing her homework while her father carefully took each motor apart. Piece by piece. Bolt by bolt. Week after week. Many parts were destroyed. Others only needed patience. Jacob often worked until 2 in the morning. Some nights he became frustrated. But whenever Lily brought him a sandwich and smiled, he remembered why he refused to quit. Months passed. Instead of repairing the motors exactly as they had been designed, Jacob began improving them. He discovered small engineering changes that made them stronger, more efficient, and easier to maintain. He wasn't simply fixing broken machines. He was reinventing them. Emily visited his garage one Saturday. She couldn't believe what she saw. The tiny workshop was cleaner than many laboratories. Every tool had its place. Every part was carefully labeled. Jacob welcomed her with coffee. He spent hours explaining his ideas without asking for anything in return. Emily later admitted something surprising. "No engineer at the company ever treated me with that much respect." Jacob simply smiled. Everyone deserves to be heard. Emily never forgot those words. Eventually, Jacob finished rebuilding all 6 motors. He requested another meeting with the company. Most executives attended only because they expected another joke. The first motor started instantly. Quiet. Smooth. More powerful than the original. The second worked even better. Then the third. The fourth. The fifth. And finally, the sixth. Silence filled the warehouse. Nobody laughed anymore. Engineers rushed forward with testing equipment. Hours later they confirmed the unbelievable truth. Jacob's redesigned motors consumed less energy, lasted longer, and cost far less to maintain. The CEO stood speechless. She finally asked, "How did you do this?" Jacob answered honestly. "I listened to what the broken parts were trying to teach me." The company offered him a high-paying job immediately. Everyone expected him to accept. Instead, Jacob politely declined. "I appreciate the offer," he said, "but I believe these ideas can help many companies, not just one." Some executives called him foolish. Others thought he was arrogant. Emily believed otherwise. She resigned from the company a week later. She became Jacob's first employee. Together they opened a tiny engineering business inside an old warehouse. At first, customers were rare. Money was tight. But Jacob had one unusual rule. If a struggling small business couldn't afford repairs, he helped them anyway. If they survived today, he would say, they'll help someone else tomorrow. Many people told him kindness wasn't a business strategy. Jacob disagreed. Years passed. The companies he had helped for free never forgot him. When their businesses grew, they returned with large contracts. One recommendation became 10. 10 became hundreds. Soon factories across America wanted Jacob's redesigned motors. His company expanded into multiple states. Thousands of employees joined. Jacob remembered what it felt like to struggle. Every employee received fair wages. Parents could leave early to attend school events. Workers received scholarships for their children. Nobody was treated like they were disposable. Emily eventually became Chief Operating Officer. She often reminded new employees about the day everyone laughed at Jacob. The difference wasn't intelligence, she would tell them. It was kindness. 10 years after receiving those 6 broken motors, Jacob's company reached a value of $500 million. News reporters asked him what his greatest achievement was. They expected him to mention money. Instead, he pointed toward the factory floor. Hundreds of employees smiled while working together. Families had health insurance. Children had college funds. Communities had new opportunities. Jacob smiled. "My greatest success isn't the company," he said. "It's that people here know they matter." One afternoon the former CEO visited his headquarters. She apologized sincerely. "I judged you by your clothes," she admitted. "I mistook kindness for weakness." Jacob shook her hand warmly. "We all make mistakes," he replied. "The important thing is what we learn afterward." There was no anger. No revenge. Only forgiveness. As she walked away, she realized something priceless. Jacob had become wealthy long before he earned millions. He became rich the moment he chose kindness over bitterness. And maybe that's the lesson we all need today. People may laugh at your dreams. They may underestimate your abilities. They may hand you what looks like worthless junk. But your response can change everything. When you choose patience over anger, hope over fear, and kindness over revenge, you build something far greater than success. You build a legacy. If this story touched your heart, remember that even the smallest act of kindness can create opportunities you never imagined. Thank you for spending your time with Echoes of Stories. Until next time, keep believing in people, keep helping whenever you can, and never underestimate what one kind heart can build.